Hey, what's up guys? My name is Jedith, and today I bring some good news. HAVOC got a huge glow up. We finally got HAVOC's Apex talents. There's been some shifting of things in the Spec Tree, and Aldrachi Reaver actually got its final row of extra talents. So I'll be showing you all of that. I'll demonstrate what some of the new stuff does, and truthfully, it is really cool. This has me pretty excited over HAVOC again, and I think you guys will be excited too. So first things first, let's look at the Apex talents. So it is called Eternal Hunt. We've been playing a guessing game trying to figure out what these Apex talents are going to be assigned to. Is it going to be I-Beam? Is it going to be Blade Dance? Is it going to be the Hunt? Well, the answer is actually all three, plus more. Crazy, right? So the Hunt empowers your next I-Beam, increasing its damage by 100%, meaning it doubles its damage, and affecting enemies in a wider area. So I'm assuming this just means the cone of I-Beam gets a little wider, which might not seem super impactful at first, but it's actually huge. You're going to be hitting a lot more mobs with your I-Beam, which of course, the more mobs you hit, the more damage you do. You may not realize sometimes, but when you're fighting a big pack of mobs, a lot of mobs, and you send an I-Beam into them, you're not actually hitting all of them because I-Beam does have a limited range to it. But now this is going to extend that range, and you'll be hitting more mobs, overall just doing more damage. It's kind of like how they added Flamebound to Felsguard, where it increased the yard radius to Immolation Aura. This is kind of doing the same thing, but for I-Beam. So already, this talent is super powerful, and it's nice to see that they're actually putting some value back into the Hunt, but it doesn't stop there. The next talent is a 2-point node, so this tooltip is reading with 2 points put into it. The Hunt has 30-second reduced cooldown, so now the Hunt is just a flat 1-minute cooldown, down from a minute 30, and it deals 30% more damage. So this 30% increase is on the initial hit and the dot that it applies afterwards. Now that dot that it applies afterwards can now be spread to 4 additional enemies. So baseline, the Hunt can spread up to 5 enemies in your path. Now we're adding an extra 4 on top of that. So that's bringing it up to 9 enemies. So 9 enemies are getting that dot on them, and that dot is ticking for 30% more damage. Now, this might seem familiar to you, and that's because we did have this as a tier set bonus back in Dragonflight. This is from the tier set that was combined with basically Screaming Brutality, where we had Blade Dance throwing out glaives for us, and we also had a reduced cooldown on the Hunt, and it was doing more damage. And the final talent, Blade Dance damage increased by 20%. Okay, we'll take that. We love Blade Dance. Fully channeling I-Beam causes your next Blade Dance to refresh its own cooldown. So this means we're getting Blade Dances or Death Sweeps back to back. So you could potentially do something like this. I-Beam, Death Sweep, and immediately that Death Sweep has refreshed. Press it again. Then we can meta, get I-Beam back, fully channel I-Beam, then we have Death Sweep, and again, it refreshed. We get another Death Sweep right after that. So this is incredibly powerful. Getting 2 back-to-back Death Sweeps is insane, but there's a few more things that go into this that make it even more powerful that I have yet to mention. So this is where we hop into the Spec Tree. So you might notice right away that things have moved around a little bit. One thing to really take note of is that Inner Demon and Chaotic Transformation are now on a choice node down here. So you can choose to take Chaotic Transformation, which resets the cooldown of Blade Dance and I-Beam. You press meta, or you can take Inner Demon, which gives your first Chaos Strike after entering demon form to do some extra AoE damage. So taking Chaotic Transformation is what lets us do that double Death Sweep. We I-Beam, Death Sweep, meta. From there we get I-Beam and Death Sweep back. Press I-Beam, Death Sweep, Death Sweep. Of course, you would change the order of that if you're using Essence Break, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, if we even end up using Essence Break at all. So Chaotic Transformation is a choice node here, and Cycle of Hatred has been changed again. Activating I-Beam reduces the cooldown of your next I-Beam by 2.5 seconds, stacking up to 10 seconds. So on first glance, this sounds like a downgrade, right? Instead of reducing by 5 seconds every I-Beam, we're now cutting that in half and reducing it by 2.5 seconds. But this was changed very intentionally because the cooldown of I-Beam is now baseline 30 seconds down from 40. So if you do take Cycle of Hatred, you are still needing to press I-Beam 4 times to get it down to 20 seconds. But if you choose to not take Cycle of Hatred, if you don't have enough points, or the build just calls for that, your I-Beam is 30 seconds now instead of 40, which is fantastic. And obviously, the more often we can use I-Beam, more often we get those double Death Sweeps. And there were some other movements in the Spec Tree, where Furious Gaze has been moved here, and the Hunt is down here now. Just very minor things. It's good to see that Rage Fire and the Fire Inside are both on the same side of the tree now. And of course, we have all of the changes that happened in the class tree that I reported on last week. If you guys haven't seen that video, you can click the link up in the top right corner, or find it in the playlist that this video is in, and you can check out all those changes. Those were fantastic. There have been some great defensive and utility changes happening in our class tree for Havoc, Vengeance, and Devour. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Aldrachi Reaver hero talent tree, and they did finally put in the extra 3 points that we're getting in Midnight. And those are the 3 listed down here. It's actually these 2 and then this one here, but we'll take a look at that in a second. So the first one up in the top right is Broken Spirit. The hunt shatters 1 soul fragment. Chaos Strike has a 20% chance to shatter a soul fragment. Now this is good because the soul generation for AR as Havoc is going to look a little different in Midnight. We no longer have Sigil of Flame, and we no longer have Sigil of Spite or Chaos Nova to generate soul fragments. So now the hunt is always going to give us 1 soul fragment, as well as giving us a free Reaver's Glaive to use. That has not changed, but we're also getting a soul fragment from it now. Now, Chaos Strike has a 20% chance to shatter a soul fragment, and this differentiates it from the regular Demonic Appetite. Now, this you would still have if you're playing Fellscarred, but this one, as far as we know, overwrites that, and this one is actually hasted. The hasted procs were removed from this passive Demonic Appetite. So Fellscarred just has, you know, a regular 4 procs per minute from Demonic Appetite. But now with this talent, this is specific for AR, and this essentially makes it hasted. So you can generate more the more haste you have. Now the next talent is called Keen Edge. Reaver's Glaive damage is increased by 20%, and other physical only damage is increased by 10%. Sounds familiar, right? This is on our tier set currently on retail. And keeping in the same vein, we have this talent, Bladecraft. Fury of the Aldrachi further empowers Blade Dance when cast after Chaos Strike, increasing slashes to 12. Reaver's Mark now stacks up to 3 times and further empowers Chaos Strike when cast after Blade Dance, applying an additional stack. So again, this sounds familiar, right? Of course it does, because this is from our tier set over on retail in the War Within. So to wrap all this up and just give it to you straight, essentially what they did is they took our tier set from season 3 of the War Within and they combined it with aspects of a Dragonflight tier set that we had, I think towards the end of Dragonflight. I can't quite remember when it was. That's the hunt stuff, right? Getting a lower hunt cooldown and having the hunt do more damage. So we've got the best of all different tier sets that we've loved over the past few years, and they have just been given to us on a silver platter. This is fantastic. So going back to how Aldrachi Reaver works real quick, because I know some of you are concerned about this. You're concerned that not having sigils is really going to affect the soul generation of this hero talent. And while that is true, I want to try to convince you that it's actually a good thing. So you may or may not be aware of how it actually works on retail right now. Because we have access to getting so many soul fragments so often, the way that you're supposed to play on retail is basically banking as many soul fragments as you can and utilizing them all at once to do insane burst damage at the right moment. What you can do is stack up anywhere from, truthfully, anywhere from like 6 to 70, 80 soul fragments as a buff and then spend them all at once. So that style of gameplay has sort of separated the player base into the people that, first of all, even know about that's possible, and those that do know about it are doing insane damage. And that's usually what you see in the top end players who are running very, very high end Mythic Plus. If you see a Havoc that's in those types of groups doing those types of keys, that's the way that they're playing. And then on the other hand, you have the people who are, you know, not necessarily banking their souls and not thinking about it ahead of time. They're not planning out every movement and timing out exactly when they want to spend all of those souls to get big damage. They're just going along for the ride. And whenever they have enough to press a Reaver's Glaive, they press it, they do their combo, and the next time that they get enough to press it, they press it again. And what I just described there is how Blizzard really intends you to play this hero talent tree. By the way, if you see my screen do that, I don't know what's going on. There's some weird world event happening in Silvermoon or something. So the whole secret style of gameplay with banking soul fragments is absolutely not intended, or at least not how Blizzard wants us to be playing our class. And if you're not able to do that well, if you're not able to do the soul banking playstyle really, really well, you're not going to be doing the crazy damage that you see other people doing. So by removing that style of gameplay, by reducing the amount of souls we're able to generate on demand, what they're essentially doing is lowering the ceiling, lowering the skill cap of how this plays, which means the floor goes up, meaning your average performance compared to all other demon hunters is going to go up. You are going to perform better and to the expected level that you want to be performing and that other people are expecting you to be performing with this change. So how are we actually generating souls now? Well, like I said, we have the hunt giving us a free Reaver's Glaive and shattering 1 soul fragment from this talent. We also have Wounded Quarry, So whatever target has your Reaver's mark on it has the chance to randomly shatter a lesser soul fragment. We also have Chaos Strike, which has a 20% chance to shatter a soul fragment. And again, this is hasted. And you cannot forget about Aldrachi Tactics, where whenever you complete your Reaver's Glaive pattern, you're given an additional soul fragment. This is looking really promising for HAVOC, and it doesn't stop here because we are still waiting on the further changes to Felsguard. There's still a lot of things in Felsguard that haven't been implemented yet. We still have these 3 on the right that have been under construction for the past few weeks. We have this talent in Violent Transformation that is still talking about Sigil of Flame, which we don't have. So there's a lot of work that has to be done to Felsguard as well, which could end up being even better than AR. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, or you're interested in learning more about Devourer, which is Demon Hunter's new 3rd spec coming in midnight, check out the playlist that this video is in. I have all kinds of videos going over Devourer's gameplay, its talents, its hero talents, and just the cool visuals, and truthfully, it's just a lot of fun to play. So there's a lot of videos you can go look at. Go to the playlist that this video is in, have a look around, and don't forget to like this video and all those other videos. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.